Spectre Vision Radio.
How we doing, friends? Hello. Welcome to the Philosophical Research Society. My name is Alex. So glad to have you here. Let me tell you a bit about this space. The Philosophical Research Society is in its 91st year here. You guys are right on time. It was founded in 1934 by a man named Manly Palmer Hall, who is a comparative spirituality author, lecturer, world traveler, philosopher, mystic in his own right. And he devoted his life to traveling the world, learning firsthand about world spiritualities, mythologies, symbols, and archetypes, and bringing that knowledge to folks here. He wrote a book called The Secret Teachings of All Ages, which is a comparative spirituality compendium, which allowed seekers of all sorts to connect the dots between these world spiritualities and find the resonant truths that spoke to them. But tonight, we have Spectre Vision fans in the house. Everybody? Can we hear it for Spectre Vision? We're so honored to have them join us every month. They've become kind of our house band here at PRS, and we're really, really honored. Spectre Vision is an interdisciplinary production group. You might know them from their fantastic films. They're responsible for Mandy, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, Color Out of Space, to name but a few, or perhaps their award-winning game Transference. They have a podcast network, Spectre Vision Radio, which they record episodes of here, just like tonight, monthly, as well as a huge stable of incredible programs, and we are very, very honored to have them. So, without further ado, would you please welcome to the stage from Spectre Vision, Daniel Noah.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming out. People who know me, and maybe people who've heard me speak about some of this in podcasts, I myself am a clairsentient, which is someone who feels feelings of others. This is something that it took me about 40 years to understand. To this day, every time I speak about it, I'm flush with terror of how people will judge me. They'll think I'm crazy. They'll think I'm looking for attention. My personal belief is that these signals are everywhere. Some people are born with a natural ability to receive these signals. Sometimes the signals are so strong, anyone can receive them. When you have experiences with the unknown, you're humbled. You are forced to come to terms with the fact that there is a much greater reality around us that we are not necessarily privileged to fully understand. And that's a really hard feeling for humans. We hate ambiguity. We hate it. It's the absolute most intolerable feeling there is for us. And so I wanted to, sort of share my own bona fides in having this conversation with 5 people who are certainly far more immersed into these abilities than I am. And also because I want our very brave guests to understand that they're in a very safe space. And what we're going to talk about tonight is the not sensational side. We're not going to do any tricks. No one's going to hypnotize the audience. We're going to talk about the human side of what it's like to be able to feel other people's feelings and to sometimes know things are going to happen before they do. It's a very complicated way to live. Thank you for indulging this introduction, and let's bring up our very, very brave guests. Christopher LaPrath, thank you. Ivy Sunderji, Nicole Partise Ellis, Cody Blue Snyder, and Greg Wendt. You just decided to sit all the way in the back, and yeah. Thank you. So we have a wide range here of we have 2 people here who have formalized their abilities as part of their life, and we have 3 people here who have are speaking about this for the first time in public, and maybe don't even talk about it in private that much. So I'm so grateful that you guys were willing to do that, and thank you very much. So, all right, let's just dive in. So my first question is, can you talk about, and we can just kind of go down the line in any order that feels right, how did you first begin to understand that you were experiencing the world in a way that was different from everyone around you?
Well, I was raised in a haunted house in northern Idaho. But if any of you are from Idaho, you pretty much know everything up there is haunted anyway. So it was just natural. My parents and my brothers and sisters heard everything that was going on in this haunted house, but I saw it, and when I saw it and told them, they would say, "That's your imagination, go play." I was like, okay. And then the night my grandfather died, he was living in Nebraska, and I looked out the front picture window, and he was sitting in the yard. And I went, Mom, Grandpa's here, Grandpa's here. I was 5 or 6. And she goes, "You know he lives in Nebraska, go play." 5 minutes later, the phone rings. It was my aunt, and he'd passed away an hour before. But he was absolutely there, no doubt about it. And I still see him, I still remember him. So, yeah.
I have to jump in on this. Also from Idaho.
Whoa! High five, high five.
Wait, where in Idaho?
Sand Point.
Okay, I was born in Moscow.
Whoa.
So
That's
we didn't know
wild.
this. This wasn't planned. Then we moved to southern Idaho, and we lived in a fundamentalist Christian community where I went to a creationist grade school. And I had experiences where I saw a dead girl and I played with her when I was a little kid. And I didn't have a language or framework to explain it. I didn't know that it wasn't, I didn't know how to explain it. And so I just compartmentalized these experiences as my imagination, or just I'm weird and I know things I shouldn't. And so mine weren't, they were there, but I didn't know what they were until actually quite recently. So.
My aunt died when I was 5, and so she started coming to me. I would get visitations from her, and I started seeing her. And I actually come from a family of other psychic people, both sides of the family, but largely on my dad's side of the family. So in ways it almost went unnoticed. It's everybody was doing a little something weird. It was of course the baby's psychic. Who else isn't? So in ways it was kind of no big deal. And then and my family does believe, and so they were open to the signs, and there was magic all around. And then the older I got, and even throughout childhood, I would go places that I would see it in my head before I got there, and things like that. And kind of like Ivy, when you're that young, you don't know how to put that into words. You don't know that you can talk to your dead aunt. And so thank God it wasn't shushed, I wasn't shunned because everyone else believed in it. But as I got older, it just got so strong I couldn't deny it anymore. And it got to the point that I had to start seeking out mentors and getting help because I had to get it under control. And so that's how it went for me.
Hey gang, what's up? So I'm from New York. I come from a very more scientific, materialist, agnostic, almost atheist family. And as a kid, I was diagnosed with ADHD and medicated. And, I dealt with the side effects of the medication for about a decade. They give me one drug, and then they'd give me another drug to treat the side effects of the one drug, and then they'd up one, and, So in my early 20s, I decided I wanted to kick the drugs and try to find true medicine. And I went on a journey trying pretty much every alternative medicine I could find, just going from brain scans and you name it, I tried it. And eventually ended up in the Amazon rainforest working with shamans of the Shipibo tribe, working with some of the most powerful psychedelic plants on the planet, so ayahuasca, wachuma, bobinsana, vilca, so on and so forth. Yeah, and I mean, in my first ceremony, I was wearing a back brace from a fracture on my spine that I had from being mugged in Harlem. And this was with mushrooms, but the shaman got sick, and I tried to help him, and I ended up taking on the sickness and getting very sick and falling to the ground, in which I began to panic, being like, oh my God, I'm fucking with witchcraft. Oh my God, the Christians were right. What am I doing? And yeah, to my surprise. And and the shaman stood up, and he was healed or better. And then he began to explain to me, because I said, what's going on? And he began to explain to me what was happening. And that's began a journey of many years of ceremonies, learning that what was diagnosed as ADHD and all these things was actually a sensitivity, almost a clairsentience, an empathic transmission that was happening with people and my environment around me. And that led me to a path of learning spiritual tools for cleaning and navigating this sort of empathic transmission.
I'm Greg. I've really never talked about this in public, but I talk about it with my friends a lot. I don't really remember, except when I was about 3 or 4, I had a secret friend that I saw that lived in my closet, and he was kind of like Casper the Ghost. Remember Casper the Ghost, that cartoon? He was exactly like that. And I would tell my mom, he's not inside yet, leave the door open, he's coming in. And then she would let me, and I said, we need a second plate at the table. And she was very accommodating. She was very kind about that. And she would put a second plate for him, and it was my secret friend. But I saw him, right? I saw him in my inner eye. And when I was about 7, it started turning off a little bit, but I remember my mom telling me that we lived in Egypt in a past life. And I remember having all these visions around that, because I could see that she could see, but I could also see that she kept it under wraps, because it was in the early 70s. And then another memory of when I was in high school, I learned about Siddha Yoga, a meditation group here in Santa Monica, and I was 16 and I was instantly drawn to that group, so I went down and moved into my 17th year and lived there for a summer between my high school. And I remember taking note with some of the people that I met that there was a few of us, like 1 out of 100, that I could really see and we could communicate. And then I remember talking to my grandmother before she died, and I said, Grandma, because I knew that the seeing similarly was coming through my mother line, going back to Sicily. And I said, Grandma, I know you see on the other side, so when you're on the other side, we'll just talk, everything's gonna be fine. She said, yeah, I know. And then when she died, I walked into seeing her in the casket, and she was just blazing with joy and talking with me, so I'll leave it there. But those are some of the things. And I think I'll say one thing. It really came on when I was in my 40s as well. I was remembering, I don't think it was necessarily corresponding, but when I went to Burning Man, I was starting to take...
Nice.
But you like this, white powder gold, right? I mean,
What is that?
it's the person who gave it to me. He said it's monatomic gold. It's gold that's in a white powder, which is what they call manna from heaven. So in the Egyptian tradition, and it has a very high frequency. And I started seeing things, and the loops got loopier, I would say to my friends. And I'm like, I started seeing all these things, and the friends I was hanging out with had no idea what was. I was like seeing all the stuff. And that's when it really started coming in, and I started meeting a lot of other intuitives. And then by seeing through what they saw, like, oh, you see that too? And then I started trusting what I'd been seeing for years, but I never quite took seriously because I didn't have a community. And then here we are.
A quick aside, there's some feedback on the sound system. Of course there is. Because when you get one person like this around electronics, they start freaking out. You get 6. It's going to be a fun night. I'm very sorry to our sound engineer. How old were you when you met Casper?
3 or 4.
Yeah.
I think maybe, because it was like I was so young, I didn't really have much except.
He looked like Casper?
Well, he didn't look like Casper, but I remember seeing somebody about my height, and it was like this kind of like lightning color, like a light bluish white.
Why do you say Casper?
Well, it was just that kind of shape. He had a little head and he had a little body, but it was like.
I see.
But it wasn't quite like the cartoon character. But it was, I just remember the shape of his.
Because I had a Casper.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Tell me what.
Well,
So tell us your
I
story.
had 4 Caspers.
You had 4.
I had 4.
So when did it happen for you?
Well,
How did it all start for
we're
you?
not here to talk about it.
No, come on.
Yeah.
You already started. Just give us a little bit.
Well, I think I spoke to you about it, yeah, and to Tanya, yeah. Well, this is perhaps the great unsolved mystery of my life, actually, is that when I began to, we're going to get off on a wild tangent here. I don't know if we should do this.
Do it.
Okay. When I began to learn about contactees, alien contactees, and I learned about screen memories and people describing, I had an imaginary friend or imaginary friends who were cartoon characters, and I went, oh fuck, I just had this awareness somehow all of my life of these times that I would get up in the middle of the night and play with these 4 cartoon ghosts who knew my name, and I really liked them. They looked like Casper. They had the wispy little bottom, and they were the blue, the red, the green, and the yellow ghosts. They had newsboy caps like this guy, and their T-shirts said the color on them, which is funny because I'm colorblind. But I had been walking around with this, and I just had never examined it, and I suddenly examined it and went, I think I've always just classified this as a dream or a series of dreams, but you don't dream your real home. That's not how dreams work. And they just suddenly seem like memories and not dreams. And so I don't know what they were. I'm scared of what they were. But I mean, they're nice memories. They were real nice to me.
I think that's unthought known, right? Where it's like living between the conscious and the subconscious.
What is the word?
Unthought known.
Ooh, I had never heard that before. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Liminal state between dream and waking.
Yeah, in between like conscious and subconscious. It's like you know it, but you don't realize you know it, and then it hits you one day, and you're like, I always knew that. I've always had flashes of that, but it never fully surfaced.
Yeah.
Right. Also, the fact that they are taking an archetypal form to communicate with you as a child, it implies a lot around their intention.
I know.
And that they're meeting you where you are as a child, so you can interpret them. So definitely nothing to be afraid of. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
I agree. They're not scary.
Okay. I'm not convinced yet, but okay. So growing up. So thank you for explaining that. But I want to go way deeper into the early childhood stuff, if that's okay. So could you maybe share beyond encounters with the dead? Because what I'm really interested in is encounters with the living. And the way speaking for myself, I all of my life thought that I was dealing with having too much empathy. Oh, I have too much empathy. I get too wrapped up in other people's feelings. And eventually there came a point where I went, wait a minute, this isn't empathy. This is something more than empathy. I actually know things about people. That's not how empathy works. And it was hard. It was it's still a hard part of my life. You take it on too much, and you end up experiencing other people's pain for them, and it's a good deal for them, right? So I'm curious to hear for you guys. What was it like as a child, really having a lot of very adult experiences by way of how you were maybe absorbing or experiencing the lives of those around you.
Yeah.
And other kids.
I'd love to speak on that. So as a kid, no idea what's going on. You're just thinking, this is what I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
I'm depressed. I'm anxious. I'm sad. I have a headache. I'm tired. and something's wrong with you. I will never forget how excited I was to get the diagnosis of ADHD. Finally, I can blame it on something. But for now that I'm on the other side of the fence here, the experience isn't, if I'm sitting with someone and they have a blockage in their throat because they're not speaking their truth, let's say, I don't experience it like you have a blockage in your throat. I experience it that my throat will close up entirely. So it's happening to me. And then once I realized that it was happening, then, it started to be the validation of being I have a headache. Well, it really came from cleaning myself through spiritual practices and diet and ceremony. And then when you're coming out of that really clean space and you come back into the world, you feel every single little thing and the effect it has on you. And then I could start to piece that together. But for a while, even after that, I was still identifying with it. And then I would trap it in myself, thinking something's wrong, as opposed to letting it pass, if that makes sense.
I will say when I was a child, I would have a picture of the future in my head of this is where I'm going. And it was how I knew what to do. And so it's very different in terms of there were a lot of things that were just disorienting and confusing about having clairvoyance and having access to psychic information. But when it was about my own life, it was a form of I feel it was guidance. I knew where I was going to go to college when I was 4 years old, and I was in grade school, and I was in first grade, I was where are you going to go to college? And I was I already know. And people are what's wrong with you? I also have ADHD, by the way, so empathize deeply. But it's just very confusing to go through the world and know things you're not supposed to know about people, and to feel you're a liar or you're creepy or whatever people think about you. Yeah.
And my mother's solution, send me to church. Yeah.
Her solution for what?
Huh?
What was the problem she was trying to solve?
She was wanting to protect me. And God save him. Now, she wouldn't go with me, of course. But Sunday school, great. But that's when I began to see okay, let me just try to scientifically explain this. On the electromagnetic spectrum, we see 1/10 of 1% with our visual eyes, right? We see a very small part. And I just began to realize that there are beings that may be along this other spectrum, right? So I have a master's in human dynamics, which is kind of ironic because my passion is non-human dynamics. But so I began to see these entities that were not, I knew they're not ghosts. There's so many different animals on this planet, so many different insects, so many different races. There are so many different things, and I find now I'm just curious. Yeah, that head tilt, right? It's curious about what is this? What is this? Who are you? What is it you want? And so I find it actually helped me or pushed me into, as a child, more into seeing angels and other entities.
I think I can say, young and older, one of the things that's been hardest for me is not being believed, and I'm really sensitive to it, and I do care what other people think. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I don't, and I try not to, but that's really hard. And it's so funny, I'm Sicilian. I had health problems growing up. We're also similar. And I too, some of my health problems, they'll hit the temporal lobe, which apparently can induce memories, which I'm convinced it's inducing past life memories. People don't believe these things when you tell them, I too sought shamans, I needed help. I have Lyme disease, and I had it for 22 years before I found out. So I spent my whole life not being believed. I wasn't believed that, and I could feel you, I could see you, I could pick up on you, I could sense you. I could feel your health problems too. And I was really brushed aside a lot in my life, and that has been one of the hardest things. And then the more you get into the mediumship work and the psychic work, there's people in your life that think that it's witchy or that think that it's dark or whatever. And
Did you go to my church?
no, but I did go to Catholic churches, Italian Catholics. They're very heavy people sometimes. But so I think that that's been the biggest weight for me is people look, some people think it's amazing. I mean, here, we're in a room full of people who are probably in the same boat and they want to know more. And I've had so many people in my life that they think it's cool and they have questions. And there are people that I feel so safe talking to. And then everybody else is like, what are you going to think? And I want to share because it's such a big part of me, and I think it's special. I think it's one of the most special parts of me. And I'm a talker, and I'm an extrovert, and so it's in my nature to want to share these parts of myself. But 85% of the time, as the words are coming out, my brain is like, shut up, stop talking, like, you don't know that this person's safe, but you're talking anyways. And it's this push-pull of like, my heart really wants to be me to whoever, wherever, and my brain is saying, you've been burned by that so much, stop talking right now. But I don't, I keep talking. And then I go home and tell myself, oh, you were an idiot, you shouldn't have done that. So that's my struggle, and I still do it, and I even, I have taken clients, I have done all the things, it doesn't matter, I've spoken about it with people, I've not, it doesn't matter. I still, to this day, feel like I don't know when I can and can't talk about it. And it's been that way. I'm 42 years old. It's been that way the whole time.
I just want to add to that. Thank you for sharing that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like being like having to hide that part of yourself is like being gaslit, and the amount of shame I have from it, it's the number one problem. I call them shame convulsions, which my wife knows about. It's almost like a Tourette's style thing where I feel so much tremendous shame about what I said that I literally physically jerk.
Physically feel it.
And it's because I'm feeling their feelings and thoughts around it when I said it, and it sticks to me more than anything. And it's become the whole work around it has become more about boundaries and self-love and actually letting go of the need to help heal other people and focus, because it became problematic. I'm sorry, Greg, I didn't mean to step on your toes. See?
I love you.
Love you too, bro. I feel like I'm in Mystics Anonymous or something.
Yeah, right. I remember, I just think I've always been a little weird, and when my mom started so my parents split up when I was 14, and we were in the suburbs. I originally lived in the inner city, and then we moved to the suburbs, which was a completely opposite experience. And she started taking yoga after my parents split up. And I started getting into all the mindfulness and reading all these books about spirituality and stuff. And her yoga teacher took her to see her guru. So I was not really interested in seeing the guru, but I found one of his books that just blew my mind, because I was into the idea that we're all made of star stuff from Carl Sagan. But when I read that teaching that everything is consciousness underneath matter, it just blew my mind, because it's just the way I've always saw things, but I just didn't know anyone who actually said that. So I immediately found out about the meditation center, and I went down and started going every weekend when I was in high school, and then I moved in there for my summer break, as I'd mentioned. And I just felt like I was at home. And there were a lot of people that were very open to these things, and the things that they taught us in the yoga philosophy was that as your energy becomes clearer and clearer and you start waking up to your God self, these things naturally come about, your ability to see, your inner eyes open and your inner capacities, and you start becoming more, it's a natural product of spiritual growth. And the point was not whether or not we had these capacities, but what we do with them. Do we use them for egoic means, or do we use them for our own spiritual growth and healing? And I remember going to my first psychic in '81 when I was in the ashram, and she was like the psychic that would say, well, you're going to have this kind of car and you're going to meet this kind of person. And I'm like, bullshit, I don't want to have anything to do with psychics that are going to predict ego shit. I wanted to learn about how I can use this for my own inner development. And that's why, because I saw so many people that were absolutely unintegrated that were psychics, and it was just not very, their neurosis was just being enhanced by their psychic abilities. So I found myself very interested in people that were using it for what they say in the yoga tradition. It's like you use those intuitive abilities to expand your sense of your inner expansion. But that's where it really became of interest to me. And I was also remembering my first wife in '90. I was 32 when we started seeing each other. Her mom was a clairvoyant, and all she did was do readings for a living. That's all she ever did for a living. It just seemed natural. I mean, I just saw the beings that she would channel, and I just knew that was just normal. And it never really was much of a thought for me. It was just the way the people I was close to operate, you know.
And the best advice, like, I think of Steven Spielberg in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, right? And that scene where the aliens are coming and the little kid, sees them and he goes, toys. Okay? So I moved from toys to then church and tried to structure and shut it down. I didn't use drugs, I did use church. Took many years of recovery, but anyway, and then I'm back into the toys. It's like, if you can see something, you change it, right? We all do that. And there are 99.99% of the people I've ever met are haunted. We're all haunted, but not necessarily by ghosts. We can be haunted by past lives, right? We can be haunted by belief systems.
Regrets,
right? By projections from other people. And I will guarantee that if you have any issues about coming out with your gift, you were put to death at least one time before. And I mean, that's just from my experience.
Yeah.
Totally.
I've been there, done that.
Yeah. Most of us have been, gone through a lot of bad things.
Yeah, and that's something I'd love to speak on, is definitely like going through the ceremonies, there was a lot of reliving being killed in front of your village, and you're talking about like burnings and crucifixions, and it's very common, and it's in the collective psyche of humanity. Me and my wife often say that disclosure, when we talk about UFOs or aliens, is really a disclosure of the self. It's really the parts of ourself that we reject because of the repression of just this aspect of reality. We shut it off because we want to fit in and we don't want to be insane. It definitely causes sickness, and that's what I've come to believe, that it's a part of a lot of underlying sickness in the world.
Well, a lot of the work
Absolutely.
I'm really interested in is this seeing through the eyes of living systems rather than the scientific materialism over time, trusting the innate intelligence in everything and all beings, and then bringing that into bureaucracy, philosophy, economics, and everything, policy. But I'll stop there because we all have a lot to share. But it's something really important about this, the subtle, because we have a disease in our culture called scientific materialism, that matter is a substance, but it's actually a product of energetic intelligence, consciousness.
Well, we're gonna come back to. I want to talk about your vocations and how the gifts integrate. But first, let's just satisfy some base curiosity. Okay, if we could just go down the line, tell us how it works and be as detailed and specific as possible. How does it work for you? Let's start, Christopher.
Okay, so I've never done drugs.
You're missing out, let me tell you.
But I did, thank you. But I did go to a neuroscientist because the tripping point for me is I went to dinner with my best friend. We'd known each other for 20 years. And we sat down across from the table each other, and suddenly the left side of his head was all bashed in and there was blood everywhere. And then I had this horrific look on my face, and he goes, "Why are you looking at me like that?" And I said, "Your left side of your head's bashed in? What is going on?" He goes, "I don't tell anyone about that." He goes, "But when I was 18 years old, I was attacked, left side of the head was bashed in, he was left for dead." So I went to a neuroscientist. I went, I need to find out, am I going nuts? Like, but that was so vivid. That was really vivid. And he, they gave me all these tests, and he comes out and he says, "How much LSD do you take every day?" I went, what are you talking about? I said, "Why would you ask me that?" He said, "Well, everybody's brain is like a fingerprint. Nobody's brain is exactly the same." So he goes, "Your brain, most people's neurons fire one direction." He goes, "Your brain, your neurons fire both directions, like someone on LSD. We know what a LSD brain looks like, but for some reason you control it, and we've never seen that before." So what it's like for me, for any of you that have done drugs, that's what it's like. But it's 24/7, but I've learned to control it. Like, I've learned to shut it down.
Well, I want to push you here. Explain it. What do you see things? Do you hear things? Do you like? Let's get as specific as possible.
Okay. So, do you remember Disneyland when they had the presidents? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it's like for me. It's like these presidents appear, and depending on what their capability is, I'm either able to hear them or see them or know. It's the sentient, audient, voyant, right?
So who are the presidents in this?
They're entities, they're spirits, sometimes it's their past lives come through.
Whose past lives?
The person I'm looking at.
So it's not always the same characters.
No. They're like holograms.
Do you see them?
Yes.
Do you see them with your eyes?
No. Okay. There are 23 senses that they've discovered besides the 5. Mm-hmm. Okay? And these are university, you can look this up, and they probably now, I haven't looked at it in the past 6 months, they've probably discovered more. For example, solar flares. When they hit the Earth, they know where they're going to hit and what time. They started watching closed-circuit TV cameras, and they saw that about 10 minutes before they were going to hit these electromagnetic waves, people got up, left the beaches, left the streets, went inside, went and got a cup of coffee, went in their homes, called their children in from the yard, time to eat, blah, 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 and they weren't there. So that's one of the examples of these electromagnetic waves that humans, we all can sense, and they're discovering these every day. So it is so my son and I both had our brains examined, and the parietal lobe is at over 200%. So it's like sensing, some people smell better, or they have great tastes, they can taste more, they can see more, that's what it's like. It's like it's another sense.
But, okay, the people on the beach, they're reacting to an unknown sense unconsciously.
Right.
It's conscious for you. Describe it.
Okay. Okay, I just did it telepathically. So, did you guys all get it? I knew you were going to ask me this, but
Well, then you should have prepared.
I know. Well, but it's like
Christopher, do you see it? Do you see apparitions?
yes,
Do you hear them?
yes,
Did they speak to you?
yes.
Okay.
He's kind of all of it.
I get. Yeah, it's a mix.
You have all the clairs.
Yeah. It's,
Do you ever just know something, or does an
Yes.
entity tell you always?
No.
No, sometimes you just know.
You just know.
Yeah.
So he's
Okay.
claircognate, sentient.
Yeah.
Right.
He's the word. He got the full Big Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to describe it, you know, it's very. Here, you go. You go.
I'm happy to do it.
Okay, we'll move on to Ivy. Thank you, Christopher.
I got this one. So I'm mostly clairvoyant, so I'll mostly see pictures in my mind's eye, and I teach screenwriting also, and I'm also a TV writer. So, when I do medium readings for people, like let's say they want to talk to their dead husband, for example, and they've come to me, and I don't know who they want to talk to, so like I'm just hearing from their dead husband, but I don't know who it is yet. Like where you have a visual imagination, which most of you do. So if I say like imagine eating pancakes in a diner right now, you can probably picture in your head like eating pancakes in a diner, right? Like show of hands in the audience, like how many people can like imagine eating pancakes in a diner right now and like see the pancakes in your head? Okay, so where those pancakes are in your brain is where like clairvoyance comes in for me. So I'm seeing pictures right there.
That's so good.
Yeah, the movie in your mind.
It's the movie in your mind. It's the like if you hear like directors talking about how they've like visualized a scene before they've actually like shot it, it's like where that comes in. Like filmmaking is like gives you a good language to actually talk about it. So I mostly see pictures. I'm also clairaudient, so that's like it's like you know the monologue in your head where you like tell yourself you hate yourself, or you tell yourself like you're not doing a good job, or like you're like why aren't you hotter, like like that monologue inside your head, that's your voice. Like sometimes other people come in and it's not your voice anymore and you're like I don't know what they're saying, and you're just like it just sounds like sounds. So like I remember once I had a medium client and they were sounding out their name, and it was a client who was like in Mumbai, and their partner died in a similar way to like my fiance who died, and they were saying I thought they were saying Sarat over and over again. The person's name was Shri Raj, but I heard Sarat when like hearing them sound it out, and I don't know like every Indian name, like because I'm from Idaho, and they don't teach you a bunch of Indian names in Idaho, so like I had to learn those later, and so I didn't know what name I was hearing, so I just heard the sounds. So it was like the voice in your head that hates you, but it's just random sounds, and you're like, what am I hearing? And then sometimes you'll have like actual like if you smell a fart that's not there, that's like one. Like you could smell something, but it's not actually out in the world, it's just in your nose. I don't know.
Is that clairsentient?
I think it's, wait, it is one. Like, but that, so like for all of the clairs that people have, it's like your senses process through your brain, but they're not coming from out in the world, they're coming from dead people. And so like dead people I mostly see in my mind's eye, but sometimes they appear out in the room. So like if I'm seeing like Cassie, I know you, I see you sitting in the front row. Like if no one else could see Cassie, but I could see her, that's what it's like. Sometimes they're out in the room like that. So.
Just a quick interjection, because you said something I think is really important. I think about this all the time, that like, so right now, everyone in this room hearing my voice, there's information entering through the cilia, is that what it's called, in your ear? Mm-hmm. And you're literally, you're creating a model of my voice in your brain. It's not actually here, right? And the image of the six of us is information that's coming in through the ocular nerve, and you're modeling the image in your brain. I think for people like us, sometimes the model just circumvents our senses, like it just goes straight in, right?
I will say also like my ears plug. Like my ears plug up like in my altitude. So I don't know, there is a physical thing happening. And like other mediums I've talked to, like they also get that ears plugged feeling.
What about burping?
Yes.
Burping.
100%.
This is a thing I just learned about, the burpee thing.
Yeah, it's you move energy. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's a problem in my household.
We've got farts and burps in the last 20 seconds.
Yeah,
Nicole, what about you?
I agree big time with Ivy, and I use all the clairs. I actually didn't realize a lot of people apparently use one or two, which I think is probably harder. I used them all my whole life. I literally didn't even know that people were kind of picking and choosing.
What are they? Can you list them?
I forget what they all are. So clairaudient is hearing, clairsalience is smelling, clairvoyance is seeing, clairsentience is knowing. What's the fifth?
Cognizance.
Cognizance is knowing.
Cognizance is knowing.
What's sentience?
Sentience feeling, I believe.
Oh, cognizance is knowing, sentience, yeah, okay, feeling. And then
Clairgustance, which we went to
Oh,
medium
yeah, the
school
taste,
together.
yeah.
So
Medium
we went to
taste.
medium
Wait
school
a
together.
minute. We're going to talk about that.
But yeah, clairgustance is where you psychically taste something that
Yeah,
you're
you
not
can
actually
taste.
eating.
And I agree, I agree with everything Ivy said. To me, it's almost just like the way you experience the world overtly out in front of you, but it's like through the sixth senses. So you're tasting, you're smelling, you're hearing, you're seeing, but it's through the third eye. And then I have twice in my life seen with my physical eyes. It's called objective mediumship. My dear husband in the audience, his mother revealed herself to me once. It was amazing. She was just covered in gold and like petting his head at night. It was beautiful. And I was very blessed that she did that. But so I've seen physically with my eyes before, like physically she was in the room as
How can
opposed
you
to
tell the
third eye.
difference?
Just the way I can, that's a hard one to answer sometimes, but when you're seeing through third eye and you're using clairvoyance and you are seing, but that they're not really there versus like you are all physically here right now.
Qualitative difference.
Yeah, it's kind of like how Ivy described, like you can see her front.
But if if Cassie were a ghost instead of just wearing a ghost sweater.
Yeah.
By the way, no one else can see Cassie.
Sorry, I know. Sorry,
She has
she's
a
in the front row.
fabulous.
She's wearing a fabulous ghost sweater.
Fabulous ghost
I think
sweater.
everyone can see Cassie. Yeah. I was on her podcast before. She's wonderful. But it's like instead of them opening their mouth to talk, they like talk through their mind.
It's so yeah. It does get tricky to.
So you just know what they're saying,
Yeah.
and you just know
Yeah.
that they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say like the clairvoyance for me, it's all very loud and clear for me usually. I mean, sometimes I have an off day, but if I'm seeing that movie in my mind. I mean, I've become quite skilled at astral travel, so sometimes I'm just not even, I don't even know if I'm in my body anymore. I'm just tethered. Sometimes I'm out there with them, and it's the most beautiful. You're in the presence of spirit. It's the most beautiful. I feel like I'm in the heavens. All the beauty that you see, filmmakers try to translate the beauty of heaven. It's that and beyond. I don't even know how to explain it. And so,
Can you try?
yeah, I mean, just the brightest colors, the clearest vision I've ever had, the healthiest my body's ever felt, just the utmost pure, the utmost love. And I feel that I have been there. And when I have really my strongest readings, I take the sitter with me and they're with me. I mean, by the end of it, they're just utterly exhausted. It's like, where did we go? And so you can really go that far. I mean, when you can like learn to leave your body, I mean, you're no longer in a reading here where they're here with you. You're going to their world, and it can be quite intense and healing. But on a daily, again, the movie in your mind, when it's seeing, when you're smelling, when you're tasting, it's there. It's just no one else could touch it or see it if you could. And then I think for my knowing, what I have always found was interesting about that is so seeing is obvious. I see. Hearing, I'm hearing. Knowing, I feel like my body becomes a mountain. I feel like I have a mountain appear inside my chest and my body that can't be moved. And I suddenly feel very heavy, and I feel very solid, and I feel very stuck in place. And there's nowhere else for me to go. It's like I have my answers. And so I have that very physical response. But I think something I would love to say that we were taught, and I couldn't agree more, with mediumship, as Ivy was saying, sometimes I don't always hear or see. And because the way it's been described to me before is with mediumship, you're speaking to a person who's crossed over, or a pet, a loved one, and they don't have a physical body to talk to you anymore. And so they can't talk to you with words. And so imagine a funnel. And so they are bigger, brighter energy than we are. And so they have to filter their energy down the mouth of the funnel. They have all that open space, but then it's coming down the tip. And we're trying to hear through the tip. And so some people might say, well, how do you not get the message right? How do you not hear the words precisely? Because they gave you this whole energy in the funnel, but then it's squeezed down this tiny little bit, and you have to try to hear it from that. And there was one more thing I was going to say. What was it on these lines? Well, for me, when I'm doing a mediumship reading, you just know when there's a third person in the room. You know when you're in a room with 2 people, and you know when you're in a room with 3 people. And so for us, we're foreign language translators, because psychic work, you're perceiving. Psychic work, it's your own thoughts and feelings. You're working with your guides, you're working with God, your angels, whoever, your loved ones. And you're doing that with mediumship too. But with psychic work, it's, I think I'm feeling this for you. I think I'm seeing this for you. With mediumship, we're talking to your loved one. They are just simply giving us the messages, and we are merely a third-party translator. We are not giving our opinion. We are not saying what we think they're saying. I mean, we're giving an opinion in a sense of like we're trying to translate it. I think this is what they're saying when it's not totally clear. But so that's a major difference.
For me, it's like playing Pictionary 24/7.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Yes.
So,
Spiritual Pictionary.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I'll give you an example. There was a woman standing behind this guy. He knew who I was. I didn't know who he was. And she's showing me, I definitely got a picture of San Francisco and the trolley car. And I went, she's talking about San Francisco and the trolley car. And he's like, no. And I went, Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. I started singing. And he started bawling. Because his aunt, the only thing she knew how to cook was Rice-A-Roni. So it is, to me, it's like, hey, listen, I tell people, this is a little bit, I'm playing like Pictionary. And I've always kind of viewed it as, there are people here that are really good communicators. There are some people here that are not really good communicators. It's the same with the other side.
Yeah.
Can I just jump in on that really quick? Also, I've said the same thing about translating. Like, that's one thing I learned in mediumship school is like you can go to any medium and you will get the same messages from your loved ones translated through their filter uniquely, but it will be the same basic messages, whatever medium you go to. And I've called it like interdimensional charades.
Yep. Yep.
Same thing. So.
Yeah, it's more of an art than a science, but the outside world tries to filter it through like the metrics of a science, and it's not, it's an art form. And also an interesting thing to what you were saying about like you're taking a non-linguistic dimension, world, a non-corporeal, non-physical world, and filtering it into these symbols that you can translate that will make sense to them. And the other thing is, it's a co-creation with their field as well. So if they don't believe it, whatever they have going on, it comes into the equation. For me, I'll speak on clairsentience initially, because this is the one that I just can't seem to fucking control because I have no boundaries. It's experienced as a pain or a tightness or a pressure in different parts of my body. And sometimes I know when something's more physical, like, oh no, this is a physical thing, or when something's more energetic, and it can extend to beyond my body. So I can feel a pain here, or there's a pain here, or I just had a pain or a pressure in the back left. So it's not just in my physical body, it's in the auric field extending beyond my body. It doesn't go too far.
And you can, around clients too, you'll feel heat around them.
Oh
too.
yeah. Well, that's the other thing is it's all communication, whether it's I want to call it your higher self or spirit, and they or you or whatever. It's like an autonomic, like an automated thing. Your frequency is being filtered